We'll have 90-second pitches and voting, and then we'll break up into groups. We will likely either have you, if you have your computers, we might be able to bring the people online into that group, or we are going to meet online with the people there so they can have their sort of mini unconference inside that space. Okay.
So in Tabrig, we've done this just as like a little session within the conference, and it's your chance to, if there's topics that have come up this week just from conversations or the program, it's your chance to talk about those in this session. But there are events where almost the whole thing is done as an unconference. So there are communities where they kind of built the capacity and confidence among their participants to, you know, bring their ideas and pitch them and work in that kind of collaborative way. So we're all still learning how to do this, but maybe we'll expand it as we go on.
I love that. How many of you have had to turn your abstract in like a year in advance for a conference? And by the time the conference comes along, you really want to talk about something else, yes? Or the latest cool thing. So an unconference space makes that possible for the new idea that's just popped into your head, or the conversation that you didn't get to have in the session that you wanted to have, so you can bring the latest things to the table. With that, I think, is it time to get started?
Yeah, I guess.
You want to say, let's do pitches?
Okay, let's do pitches.
All right.
The camera, you can look at the camera.
Yes. Okay. Gracias.
So,
Go first? We're going down there and then there.
yeah, here? Okay. So I'd read it and then I invite you to?
Oh, you can read it and invite me to
Okay.
pitch?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you like.
Okay. So
Read that bit for me.
the first topic is the interest group, a community for LLM structured data extractions. Nikki for Ben and HM.
Hello, I'm Nikki, and I'm speaking for Ben at the NHM, who flew home last night. So he couldn't pitch this topic, but I really support it, so I'm pitching it for him. And that's the build an interest group for LLM structured data extraction, which we've heard lots about this week. It could be an interest group within Tabrig. It could be a community network where we have like some space on GitHub where we share what each of us are doing. The Tabrig relevance that I see is that if one were using something like a schema-based data extraction, the best way is to map those schemas to Tabrig standards. But the whole field is moving really fast. There's a huge opportunity for us to use this and support initiatives like BHL and the mobilization of literature and pulling the data out of that literature to protect biodiversity. So, yeah, if you're interested in that topic, then come and talk to me and I will make myself Ben from the NHM.
Thanks, Nikki. The second topic is how would you like Darwin Core Data Package, how to guide to look like? It's around me. So Darwin Core Data Package is currently in public review, and I believe GB Secretariat would start to work on a how to guide soon. So I think it would be good for us to think about the structure of how to guide, how do we want people to be able to contribute to this how to guide so that we can establish a structure where a lot of pieces can go to this place. If you are interested, please come talk to me. And yeah. The next topic is specimen carpentry curriculum and network. What do we have? What do we need? And what do we want? Deb?
Okay, I get a minute. Here, I get 90 seconds. So there was a symposium where we talked about building a specimen carpentry, and I added the flavor of network. What do we want the curriculum to be? What goes in that? How do we manage it? The fact that we want it to be open. And what does that network look like? So it connects to the topics that always come up in these things with, what do I do next? I take specimen carpentry, now where do I go? And making sure that that's connected to our different networks. So if you're interested in that topic, I'm interested in that topic, you know, put your hand up when it comes time to vote. Okay.
And next topic is common GitHub repo with access to tools and guides for software or existing tools. From Pyrian.
Thank you. So this idea I got from like a question I got yesterday about how people are, like we are creating existing tools that might not be needed if someone else has already created. So it might be nice to create like common repository in GitHub or something with run by the community with guides or links to existing software that taxonomists use or we've created. So we can hop on that to first check before we start creating new tools or assist with your work as well. And because it will be run by the community, everyone can access it, everyone can edit it, everyone can add their own thoughts to it or anything like that. And we can moderate it as well.
Thanks, Virian. Next topic, how to get access to funding for biodiversity research in underrepresented regions. Oh, welcome. That's okay.
Hi. So my name is Laura. I'm here from Colombia, and we have been hearing all this week that there is underrepresented regions, especially the global south, except Australia probably. And we are making efforts to have biodiversity inventories, but struggling a lot to give continuity. So I was thinking, if we have all these kind of infrastructure for data, how could we share like sources of grants or funding to give continuity to this research?
Thank you, Laura. Next topic is biodiversity research software engineering's community meetings, strategic instead of opportunistic. How do we set this up? Where do we hold them? Let's align our work. Oh, Nikki, is you okay?
Sorry, Deb wrote it, but I'm going to pitch it. Yeah, hello. I'm being myself now. Yeah, so I think there's been a lot of traction in some scientific domains in recognizing the importance of software in research, and that has culminated in job title, research software engineer. That doesn't seem to have made a lot of traction in our community, but everything we do depends on us making software and mobilizing that data. So maybe it would help us with funders and so on, because in the UK certainly, with our funding schemes, you can write them into grants. And they are defining a career path such that you don't necessarily need to get your first author papers to progress. You are assessed on your progression metrics based on the software packages that you look after, that other people depend upon. So could we set up a network, and we've got this cool name, Biodiverse, for RSE, Research Software Engineer. Could we set up a network so that we have like better visibility of those kind of career paths for the people that we depend upon in this community? And come and talk to me and I'll be myself.
Thanks, Nikki. Oh, the next one, GBIF cubes beyond species. Alternative uses of GBIF SQL API for measuring nodes performance. Mikhail.
Yeah, hello. My name is Michal. I'm from GB Norway, and on Wednesday we had a nice workshop about GBIF Cube and this new SQL API. And I had some idea that it was designed to get species out, but actually there is a lot of data available, and we can do a lot of measuring. So I made this simple dashboard just in a day, basically in the mornings, because I wake up early nowadays for some reason. So it shows you, for example, recorded by ID and whether they are valid, actually recorded by ID terms or invalid, and percentage for every node organization or hosting organization. And we can do this kind of extraction of data, and we can measure, compare the nodes, so we can sort of gamify nodes against each other or the organizations against each other. And we can also see how to fix our data most efficiently, for example, exporting most underreported recorded by person that doesn't have recorded by ID. So now we can run the queries like that. So I made a simple dashboard if you want to have a look at it and talk to me, what do you think can be improved, where we can query stuff GBIF in these unconventional ways, and yeah, maybe we can measure ourselves and compare ourselves and get better that way. Anyway, that's it.
Thanks. Thanks, Mika.
Is the next one,
Yeah.
Nicole?
Yeah.
Could we do requirements first?
Virtual?
Could we do one of the online ones first?
Yes.
Just in case Nicole turns up.
Yeah. So now we go to the virtual participants. Ah. Okay. We have 2 topics from virtual participants. The first is best way to engage virtual participants from the virtual Esteban.
Okay, so we from the Global South almost never have the opportunity to be in person. This one we have it. It's a nice trend, a nice change. We usually are always online, and thanks to Dave or thanks to some people, to the organizers that made hybrid conference possible, we can participate. Otherwise, we will be outside. But we need better ways to combine these people that are online. I'm not just like, oh yeah, you can see me there and write me a chat and that's all. No, they need to feel like they are part of the events too, that they can connect with the events, with the participants. I know that it's not the same way. I know that it should be better if everyone was here, but it's not possible. It also is more expensive environmentally. But I know it can be made. We just need to find a better ways to connect people online, hybrid, presential people.
Thanks, Esteban. The next topic is let's do some AI coding together. From Rukaya, and she would like to make a bot which reads the transcripts of all the sessions and guides user through highlights of the conference based on users' interests. Is Rukaya online?
I think not yet, and Nikki, can you help here? I want to explain. So people can pitch topics and the people online could pitch. And sometimes in Unconference, if you have more space, it has a hackathon component. You pitch topics and then you can break into groups and actually do work, right, as part of that. And Nikki, you were suggesting how we could start that, the idea? Yeah.
So, because of the time difference, Rukaya probably isn't online, I guess. Is she? Wow. Okay. So we have quite a limited time for this Unconference. I thought we could discuss how we would go about doing this and make sure that any organisational structures for the conference which would help this kind of thing, because it does sound really useful, could be fed forward into the way that we plan the event for next year.
I think it will be because we are planning the next year.
Can you say that in the mic so that the people online can hear?
I have a strong suspicion that this will be implemented because we are with Rukaya working on next year's Tadvik, so.
Are there any other pitches? We had a cutoff time for that, right? Nicole?
Do you want to do Nicole's? I've done two already.
Do you have it? Yeah, sure. Okay, one more pitch, and this is from Nicole Kearney. The future of BHL, mobilizing the biodiversity heritage library community to save the foundation of biodiversity knowledge. So the BHL is the world's largest digital library of biodiversity literature and archives and one of the world's most critical resources of biodiversity knowledge. But in March this year, the Smithsonian Institution, BHL's administrative and technical home, since 2006, announced it would cease to host BHL the 1st of January next year. The loss of the Smithsonian has dire consequences for the BHL. For the past 19 years, the Smithsonian has provided the global BHL secretariat staff and the technical team, as well as 7 servers, so in other words, staff and infrastructure, required to run the BHL website and the website itself. Over the past 6 months, the global BHL consortium has worked really hard to build a foundation for a more autonomous, global, sustainable BHL. They have a new fiscal sponsor, early offers of support, and global fundraising campaign. What they don't have yet is long-term sustainability. BHL is now calling on the biodiversity community to step up, not just with funding, but ideas expertise, connections. We need people who can help us design a sustainable hosting model, build partnerships, explore new revenue streams. So many of the projects shared at Living Data rely on the knowledge and data in BHL. It's truly the foundation of our understanding of biodiversity, and securing its future is essential. Please vote for this discussion so we can come together to plan how we can keep the world's biodiversity knowledge accessible and discoverable for everyone. That's it, I think. Yours? That's yours. Okay.
What do we know now?
Next up, we can go back through and vote really quick. People put hands up and vote for what they want. Yes? Okay. Go, Dean. What? No, none. We're all learning.
How many votes do we each get?
Excellent question. A lot of times we do this with stickies on a board, and people each get like 3 stickies or 5 sticky little dots, and you go and you can put all your dots on one topic, or you can distribute your dots as you see fit. I think we have to go on the honor system here. How many votes, how many stickers were we going to give people? We talked about that, but I don't remember. 3, 5?
I really don't know. I mean, it's great to see the level of interest in these topics for people that have that have proposed them. I mean, it's a bit sad if you are interested in it. It's someone's first time. They've just pitched it and they don't see anyone put their hands up. So I would say vote for whatever you like.
Okay.
And then we'll.
So that way, we'll just tick marks here, right? You'll have to put your hand up long enough for us to count the tick marks.
More people to vote for.
Yeah.
And so,
Sure. They can vote. Yes, the online people can vote. You'll have to put your hand up in the chat so that, yeah, they can put their hand up in the chat, and then you can just add tick marks. If you want, you can just put an O for online or something. That way you know how many of them are online. Sure. Okay. Sure. Well, I would hope that you did. Yeah, John.
Dean started it, so I get another stupid question. How will this work? All of them for the whole period? All of them that are voted in?
Yeah.
Or serially, or what?
Well, I think you mean, are we going to switch topics like halfway? I don't think we have time. It's too short. Yeah. No, I think, yeah. Because we're going to also have report backs, hopefully, at the very end, really short.
Talk to whoever proposed it if you support it, but you haven't got time to be in 2 places at once. Do you want to do that?
I didn't hear it. Say what?
Okay. You can tell that we're learning how to do this.
Yeah, well,
Okay.
we're improvising in the time space we have.
Yeah, okay. So you can't be in 2 places at once. You can't be 2 people, even though I have tried. I guess be honest, and we'll use the votes to guide what we talk about today. But if you have heard several topics that you're interested in, go and talk to the person that pitched it and support them. And, you know, we've got the technology to talk to each other outside of these events, so let's continue those conversations if you think they're important things.
And that's especially true as we work out how to connect the people online to this. Honestly, when I did this on the fly in in Hobart in Tasmania, I created, it was basically a mini Unconference for the online people. So, and we may have to do something similar here, but we'll see. All right, so we start votes?
Yep.
Okay. So,
Is everyone ready to vote, or do you need a bit of...
so I just read the topics.
yeah, so
First topic, interest group community for LLM structured data extractions.
LLM. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Anyone on?
Yeah.
No? Okay.
Okay.
Second topic, how would you like DaVinci data package how to guide to look like?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay.
6.
6.
Thank you.
7.
Okay. 6 and 1 online. Okay. Yep.
Specimen carpentry curriculum and network.
This is only me. 1, 2. Anybody else? 3. Okay. 3. Anybody online? Okay. Keep going.
Common GitHub repo with access to tools and guides for softwares and existing tools.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think that's 7 or 8. Oh,
8.
8. Anybody online? Okay.
We could talk about merging
Yes, we.
Yeah.
That's true. What would we merge in your brain right away?
those. No, we'll ask them.
no, I'm just, because it's your brain,
Okay. How to get access to funding for biodiversity research in underrepresented regions.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8, I think.
9.
9.
9.
Okay. Anybody online? Let's see. Research software engineer community. Yeah.
Yeah.
Biodiverse research software engineers community. How do we set this up? Yes? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Online? Okay.
GBIF cubes beyond species.
Oh,
Alternative uses of GBIF SQL API for measuring nodes performance.
interesting. I want it for other things, but yes.
Yeah.
That's like
I can't be in
That's
2 places, but I think it's
10,
already
11, whatever that, yeah, it's a lot. Okay. All right. Yeah, the future of BHL. What can we do to support BHL and how do we move it forward? Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay. Do you want to mention the mergy bits?
Okay.
So what, is it something else?
Right, so I've noticed that everyone's almost voted for lots of things. Are there stuff online?
Yeah, one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Best way to engage virtual participants.
I have strong feelings about this topic.
Virtual participants.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, yes, 10. 10. You can put 10 in there.
There, how many? Online. 2 online.
Yeah, so can you change the form to make it say 10?
Yeah.
Somebody can. There you go, something like that.
So,
There were already 3 there, so it's like 13, but that's okay.
yeah.
So if we can put,
So,
yes, there was where K is.
yeah. AI coding to make a bot to read transcripts of all sessions and guide users through highlights of the conference based on users' interests.
Yes. Interesting to me, but I won't have time to for that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7.
7?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, well, you can actually, but.
All right.
Okay, so.
Do you want to?
Merging?
Okay, so I've noticed lots of people have voted for more than one thing, and none of us are Doctor Who and can be in multiple places at once. Has anyone proposals to merge things? Can you see any commonalities between these that you think would help merge? I could see perhaps the GitHub repo and the interest group for LLM structured data extraction, like that could be the test of this shared GitHub repo. Or we could think about different ways to do that. I can't ask Ben what he thinks, since he's not here. What do you think, Pirine? Yeah? Okay. So we got one less?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought about that too.
Yeah.
Might not be related.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we could have a super group of also talking about the biodiversity research software engineer group within that.
Is that too much?
If we merged all those together, do you still, people that voted, feel that you would have to be in 2 places at once? Yeah.
But it's going to, you know what? In those topics, the people that are in this space are going to be in this space.
Yeah, yeah.
So, yeah, I'm trying to say that the people who are interested in the biodiversity research software engineering community development are also going to be the people who are going to want to come to the common GitHub repo and interest group for LM structured things, right, are going to be in the same space. And then we usually pick something like the top 3 or top 5 topics that got the most votes. If we do that this time, just looking, math, yeah.
I think Esteban's topic is even more.
Yeah, Esteban's is engaging the virtual participants is 13.
Great.
So yeah,
I think that's really important to do.
yes, I do too. And then the next one would be 8 and 5 is 13, yes. Last time I counted, I think. And this one.
Yeah, but lots of people voted twice. It's very hard.
That it is very hard.
So
One,
we've got,
two.
we've got a software type one, we've
Yeah.
got a virtual one.
Yeah,
BHL?
yeah.
BHL or
Yeah, yeah.
cubes are the next two.
We-
And this,
we get-
what did the AI coding get?
7.
Okay.
I think
So the next two, yeah, do you want to say?
BHL.
The next two we've
Yeah.
got are these two.
Yeah, the next two, BHL and the GBIF cubes beyond species, alternative uses of the GBIF SQL API. Yep. Yeah, and then it's these, yes?
Yep.
Okay, and then that's it.
Well,
We don't,
if we smash that in there, we haven't got.
okay,
we haven't
let's
got
just,
that problem.
all right, we just made an executive decision and moved the research software engineering block into that one. So that gives us access for research for the last one, for number 5. How do we get access to funding for biodiversity research for underrepresented regions? Okay, that's the top 5.
Yeah, we could give people 10 minutes to have a chat and then work out which ones actually go through.
Oh, yeah, so now that, yeah, okay. Huh?
Would that help?
No, we do.
Yeah.
So now I think the goal is, you have 10 minutes, there are 5 topics. They are the general one of these software ideas. What's the virtual one? The virtual, engaging virtual, yeah. The API, alternative uses of the API, GBIF, BHL, and fundraising. Or,
Yeah, funding underrepresented.
yeah, funding the underrepresented. So which groups, because people voted many times, so you have to figure out which one of those groups you want to be a part of. So we can round that up now, we can ask. How many of you want to go to the software one? How many will go into the software group? Okay. Go.
Yeah, go. Dean suggested we now vote, just be honest and just vote once each. For these 5? Yeah. Sure. Yeah.
All right, y'all. Okay, so the software group. Software, raise your hand. Yeah. I will try. Come, you help me, because we then combined a bunch of stuff. So software combines things.
Okay, so if I was a taxonomist, I would be a lumper. So this comprises a community for research software engineers in the biodiversity informatics space. And I imagine one of their things that community would build would be the common GitHub repo that Pyrian pitched. And in that common GitHub repo, I could imagine it would be a good place that we did the interest group and community for large language model structured data extraction that I pitched for Ben, because that all seems to fit together to me.
So, do you want to hear them all first before you vote? Is that the deal? All right, so that's one. The next one is how to work to improve the experience of virtual attendees. Okay, that's number 2. Number 3, cubes, is this one? Alternative uses of the GBIF SQL API for measuring nodes performance. Yes? BHL, supporting and figuring out sustainability for BHL in the long run. And how do we go about access to funding for biodiversity research in underrepresented regions? Those are the 5. Everybody ready to vote? Cool. All right. Software. Yes. Okay, good. 5?
Yeah, online people?
Okay, so it's like 6, something like that. Yeah, improving and enhancing the experience of the virtual attendees. Yes, yes. Okay. 3 or maybe online? Cool. The alternative uses of the GBIF SQL API? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes. BHL? I can't be in 2 places at once. 1, 2, 3, me if I could. 3 plus, Nicole will be here, she'll make 4. Access to funding for the biodiversity research in underrepresented regions. 1, 2, there must be more than that. Underrepresented. Oh my gosh. Okay. All right, I think we're ready to go. So the next thing we are going to do is break into groups. The tricky part is going to be, yeah, there you go, and we're figuring this out with you, how we're going to engage with the people online. So as my experience doing this, ideally when we've had more time and different kind of space, is that each group would log in on their own computer to the Zoom space with the virtual participants. They join the room they want to join that aligns with the topic. Yes? We may or may not be able to do that here. We have a login and have them in that space. So we may have to do a microcosm inside that space and connect people together afterwards. Anything else you want to add? And what we'd like to do is, when you meet, you can structure it any way you want. You're talking about that topic, trying to figure out what's interesting to you around your group, like listening to everyone in the group, giving time for that. And you may come up with a next step, you may not. It may just be a listening session where you all figure out what page you're on and what you want to do next. And at the end, try to wrap up the sort of top 2 or 3 ideas or next steps that you have. And we have a little wrap-up session at 10 of? Quarter of?
I don't know.
We finish it, it's 8 to 10, so 9:45.
Okay, yeah.
So at 9:45, we'd come back together as a whole group, and each person, somebody from the group will give us just the synopsis of what you discussed. And then some of that we'll put it together for the closing session to be shared. That's it. Groups. So you guys can self-organize. I mean, do we want to point them to corners or just?
I won't point to corners because I don't know where the
Well,
PowerPoints are, so
no.
we're just going to have to find
Okay.
our way around.
So the software people have to find each other, the virtual people have to find each other, cubes, BHL, and funding. Yes. Yes, question period.
Oh, I'm sorry. Here you go, Peter.
I was just going to suggest that maybe we vote, like whoever said the topics can just put up their hand and then they can just group up together to that person.
Great idea. Okay. Good.
Software is me.
Okay, software is Nikki. All right. Virtual, that's you, Esteban. So you're gonna, all right. So if you were interested in that, we're gonna find Esteban. Cubes? BHL is Nicole. Rod, can you represent? Thank you. And the funding for, yeah. Tell me your name again. Laura? Yeah. I do as well. I have my computer open, so, I mean, I can help. Yeah, we're good. Okay. All right. So, time to start. Please find your leaders and meet away.
I think the Zoom is harder to enter for us presential people. So I was thinking sending 5 different Google meetings to each one of the persons.
So we can. The complication is we won't even know if every single group has somebody with their computer up and running to run a Google Meet.
Suggestion for the virtual participants. It's possible to create like a chat or something.
Well, we're working, that's exactly what we're kind of working on. That what I,
It's a tool I might recommend, even for the future. Discord. It's a bit like Slack, but you can also participate.
Discord?
Yeah.
We know Discord. Yeah, we do. You're saying you can't just give me the Zoom link and I can just log in on my computer to the same Zoom? No, it's too hard?
You have to remember that we got an email like for the join the event, so you have to go to the email, join the event there.
All right, I'll find
So virtual, I just join this? I just
No,
go,
no, no.
no, it doesn't come
That
in.
is not the. That's not
But I'm not a virtual attendee, so how do I find that link? That's what you're saying?
Yeah.
You don't have it?
That's
That's the problem. Okay. I don't know how to solve it. You can try your Google Meet idea, it's just that I'm not sure, you're gonna have to go to each group, like.
Each group.
Could you ask them?
Except the
Can you ask online who wants to join?
Yeah, which groups do they wanna join?
we have
One person wanted to join the funding.
funding group, software
and
group,
software group.
virtual everyone has like a workshop in each of the groups.
I'm sorry. It doesn't help. You see, because what you're doing is creating, they're already in a separate room, and you could create breakout rooms in there, and they could talk on that topic. What you're really
But I
talking
need to
about,
join it.
we have done it before, it's just, it takes more structure and more coordination.
Зачем?
Okay.
We've been talking a little bit already.
I personally think between like you and me, whatever, we know how to do it well. We do. It's a matter of in some cases, it's money. For hybrid,
For 100.
yeah.
So hi, we are the virtual one. I
Yes.
try to set up the LLM and
Yeah, with Google Meet.
With
You,
Google
yeah,
Meets.
right.
and the funding.
Yes.
I hope you are all here.
Yep.
Can you, one of you, speak?
Hello?
Rian,
Hello?
Javier.
Oh, I think there's my
Um,
video. There's my video. There I am. Hi.
Hello.
Hello. Oh, and
Hello.
Dimitri. Oh, hi, Dimitri. Natalia. Oh my gosh. Wonderful. So
So what's this group about? Hi.
this group, this is about virtual participation. How do we continue to develop, improve, and ensure that virtual participants are
Okay.
fully immersed and connected to the in-person sections of the meeting?
Okay.
There is a link for the funding group though in the chat. I think you wanted to go to the funding group.
Yeah, but I can't find it.
I will send them again in the chat.
Okay. Ah, yeah, I found it. Thank
Okay.
you. Thank you.
So
Welcome.
you have to go soon, John.
10
Would
minutes.
you like to?
There was something, new ideas how we can engage people.
I didn't have ideas. We were just talking about Deb, about things that have been done in the past that should be propagated. And to me, being able to be involved in a dance with everybody who was around the world during COVID was a perfect demonstration of participation. If we can pull that off, we can do the rest, I think.
So what John is speaking about is when we had to do virtual, we had a social and we had a Spotify account and everybody contributed songs to the playlist from their interests. So we had a very diverse, multilingual playlist. And we initially set to a breakout room as well for people who wanted to then talk with each other so they could leave the dance for a bit and go chat with people and come back to the dance, which like we do in a regular dance, right? We break off and go get a drink of water and chat with people.
That's
And
the characteristics of the kind of sociality you want to be able to promote virtually.
Yeah.
That's really squashed most
Yeah.
of the time.
yeah. And in addition, it was originally supposed to be 2 hours and then we end and no one wanted it to end. And we went on for probably close to 6 hours before poor Dimitri Rosens went to bed at 4 a.m. because he was the one running the Spotify. But, yeah. Oh, wait, so she managed to join the funding session, it looks like. Yeah.
I guess she.
Are there other meetings where you've gone to so far where the virtual experience has brought something you really appreciated that was good?
I've only done another TEDwig meeting in the past. And it was, I don't remember what year that was, 2021 maybe. It was exclusively virtual. And that was my first virtual meeting. And maybe it's the same one that you're talking about, but
It is.
okay. And I missed the social and I'm so bummed about it now. That would have been such an experience. I really like the way that just like the access to the presentations and the like that part of the logistics. I like all that. I guess I was a project manager for an RCN that was at a national scale, and we got requests for this too. Like, how do we create more social spaces beyond just doing the work? Yeah, I think that's a really interesting area of discussion, and it's neat to hear that you did a playlist instead of a co-hanging out space that way.
I have to say, I was chair of TADWIG at that point in time. And one of the things I was incredibly insistent about was that people online are not treated as second-class citizens to the people in the room. And so making that virtual experience as connected as possible then led to my thinking when we had the next in-person meeting, right? At how could we then make sure that the people who were going to participate online in that meeting could be in the room. So for example, the way all of you now are in a Zoom square or box, we had separate screens, separate large screens in every conference room where you appear just like you do here in Zoom. So everybody in the room in person could see everybody online, and everybody online could see everybody in the in-person space. So people would get very excited. Oh, look, so-and-so is actually here. And then they would want locally to log into the Zoom so they could be chatting with the people online.
Very cool. We do stuff with the Entomological Society of America meeting, and we had a symposium a couple years ago, and they like strictly forbid virtual participation, virtual attendance. They didn't want pre-recorded presentations. And we really struggled with that. We ended up like hijacking our session a little bit and playing pre-recorded talks anyway. And we had a Zoom computer in there and just hoped that like nobody was going to come in there and see what we were doing. So I'm really grateful for the amount of effort that this community puts into getting virtual access, because I'm in other communities where they will not do that.
I think I was saying the same thing to John earlier, that what I have seen as soon as COVID was over, there was this desire to quote, go back.
Yeah.
People would verbally say, we want to go back. And I really think that's something we need to strategically push back against. It shows how, part of it's just because it's challenging and it can be expensive to do it well. It is possible to do it well. It takes effort and
As you were saying,
Yeah,
it's
I have to agree with.
not allow it.
yes, it's very elitist.
Yeah, I agree. It was very
Yeah.
shocking.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Javier?
but probably this is not the best example because I think, well, being part of the academic committees, what I got is precisely had to do also with the licensing and paying for licenses precisely. And I think we could have done a better job in advance just to make sure that everybody had access to the same, because for example, people that are there in the room, like you guys, you don't have access to all the online resources because of those restrictions. And I think we need to level up the playing field. One thing that I was just pushing, and at the end, well, I had to drop, is we didn't have a conference chat for everyone, like in past years on Slack.
Yes.
There have been, well, we have this Living Data Slack for organizing the conference. Some people have been jumping in, but it is not something that was officially shared. And I think in the past that has been a very helpful resource, precisely. So everybody can talk to anyone. Doesn't matter whether you're virtual or you're there.
Yep.
See you in the next one, John.
Yeah, so in past Tadwigs, starting back, I think it's also, to be honest, me, but when I was chair, we started the Tadwigs Slack. And then for each meeting, we created a Slack for that meeting or a Slack channel for that meeting. And then
Absolutely.
everybody in the room or everybody online could be in that chat. And we had one I know we did where, you know how sometimes you can't be in that presentation, but you want to ask that session person or presenter a question. So we even created separate channels for each session so that you could go on after the session. People could continue to have a conversation around.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah, precisely. Hobart and Okinawa were very good examples of that one. Yes.
Yeah.
We just missed it this
Yeah.
year.
And in Okinawa, that's one of the places where, people said to me, well, when we were in Hobart, nobody had organized an unconference. And I said, I will do it. So I just did it on the fly, but I did it like this. So what about you, Esteban? You had.
I think it's really expensive to do these things well.
It is.
Have you once told us?
Yes.
We don't have the money sometimes, especially we are doing it like here or they're not high income country. I think a good like trade-off will be to have one presential or hybrid and one virtual. Like fully virtual, it's more it's the playing field is the same for everyone. No? If you are fully virtual, we are fully virtual, and you can set up these things with Spotify, or there are some platforms where you can like walk around virtually and chat with people, but that only works if we are all in the same thing. Because if just the CEOs as virtual and the next one are here presential, well, we are less left behind. Um, I try really hard this time to, especially the questions from the online people, to be really present with that. Because when I was online and you made a question, and at the end of all the question, oh, we run out of time, and oh, yeah, there was a question from the virtual that did 20 minutes ago before anyone else, but we just miss it. So now here we try to have a volunteer in every room, and the volunteer is supposed to be with the chat and tell the moderators as soon as you got a message. So you involve the people a little bit more, but for logistic constraints, budget constraints, we couldn't like make these both ways in the Zoom. Just chat that I know is not ideal. So
Yes.
the hybrid 1 year and virtual the next year, I think it's a good trade-off.
Yeah.
I know that people love to travel and meet each other. That's lovely. But we can, for the sake of everyone else
Sure.
and the environment,
Yeah, exactly.
1 year.
I think you did a great job of that, by the way, because, no, I'm serious. I have been in meetings just recently, similar to your experience, Brian, where literally the organizers of the meeting in person said, they basically ignored the people online. Let's just put it that way. Like, it's too inconvenient to interrupt to ask their questions. And I was like, excuse me? They paid money to come to this too, and they are engaged, this is not. So when I did it, I insisted that, and similar to what you did here, that there be like a question from online, a question from in person, a question from online, a question in person, because otherwise they get ignored. It's very, very easy to ignore someone you cannot see. That was another reason why I said the expense of having an extra, a big screen in the room to show the people in the room. You don't forget them because they're actually have a
You
presence.
see them.
Yeah, you can actually see them. It does cost
Sorry,
money.
I have to go, but I just wanted to go back to the idea of the social events, probably in
Yes.
advance. The one that you mentioned for Spotify is great. I think if we make a deliberate effort precisely to set up social, well, probably
Yep.
social plus, what is that? Well, interest groups in advance.
Yep.
Precisely,
Yeah, yeah.
I think that would help basically, because I know it's also difficult, even online. There will be the introverts that will struggle.
Exactly.
But at least if we provide some variety of topics where people, well, we can use as icebreakers,
Yes,
it would be handy.
yes.
It would
Yeah,
be a step in the right direction.
I love that. Thank you for joining us,
Sorry.
Javier. Thank you.
I
Thank
have
you.
to go to the third week one. See you
Yes, yes.
around. Good to see you
Understanding.
guys.
Yes.
See
All
you
right.
around.
See you.
Hello. So the other part of that, I think, is people will say that this stuff can't happen well online, but it can. These social events have worked really well. And the introverts that he just mentioned, I think the nice part is here, for example, I said with the dancing, we created breakout rooms and people could go into a breakout room or they could make multiple ones and say, well, it's like an unconference. They found out that they wanted to talk about something particular. We just made another breakout room. And then your point, Esteban, many of the organizations I have worked with, and I don't know about you, Brian, where they are already talking about like every third year being all virtual. One, it's cheaper. Two, it's much easier to include people all over the world. And it's easier to have meetings over a longer time frame, not just between like an 8-hour time frame, but 12-hour. So more people on the planet can participate. And the language thing has become sort of way better. I pay $15 every 3 months at my institution to make instant translation in Zoom. And you just pick your language that you are going to speak in and what you want to hear people's back in. And it auto translates between a bazillion languages just on the fly. And it's very cheap from an institutional perspective. Again, depending on your institution, but it's yeah. Are there other ways that you guys want to talk about what doesn't go well or what you'd like to see go better from a virtual point of view?
I was thinking about that, but
Is there like when you plan these meetings and you want to include all these virtual features, is there like a subcommittee of the planning committee that would be responsible for that? And do they have to be affiliated with like the host institution? I don't know how conference event planning works.
Good question. I think it depends on your organization. You know,
Okay.
like ENTSOC is huge, right? But Entomological Collections Network is a small volunteer group that plans ECN meeting that comes right before ENTSOC.
Right.
So, and some of us have had a lot of experience planning meetings. Yeah, like me, golly, more than I can count at this point. Is there a committee for online? I'm not sure we did it that way because it was such a small group of people, but it's not a terrible idea. The main thing is trying to exactly what you said. It's trying to make sure we have people who are very thoughtful about making it better, like you said, Esteban, not trying to figure out how to make it easier or cheaper. Because easier or cheaper usually means ignoring them.
Yeah.
And so then it becomes more about how can you fund it? I can see, for example, there may be very well funding sources that would be interested in helping to offset the cost of making sure that the virtual experience is good. And they would contribute because the technical aspects, the cameras and the extra screens and the Zoom license, all that, it's expensive.
Yeah.
So the cheapest meeting is virtual, where everyone is virtual. It is the cheapest by far. And it, exactly as you said, Esteban, it levels the playing field. Everybody is equal in the space. But yeah, that's not a bad idea. Make a strategic so that there's actually people in trying to ensure that that happens.
I remember what I was thinking before is online is cheaper in this kind of conference when you are participating online, but it's not that much cheaper for the value you get compared to being presentially. Just taking account, I don't know, the lunches, like you are paying $150 for being online. We pay 250 and got 5 lunches and 3 snacks. That's like more than the 100%. And you didn't have the opportunity to network or the opportunity to talk right now like we are doing. So if we are not for budget constraints or because logistically is really hard, we should at least make virtual cheaper, like for real cheaper, instead of somehow cheaper compared to the real value, especially because 150 continues to be a high price for low income countries like
Yep.
I don't know, Africa or South America, Southeast Asia, $150. Well, that's a lot of money. You could possibly we do it by 50
Yep.
because the amount of people you can have online is the same as a lot.
Yep.
Right now we are paying for the Zoom for the 4 of us, but if they were 40, we're paying the same.
Yeah. Yeah.
So instead of we can lower the price and have more people. That way, we are as a as an organization, not losing money because well, I know that money is a really important part because you need to have at least certain amount of money to cover your expenses. No one here is getting rich by doing this conference.
No.
We are just covering the minimum expenses of the time we invest,
Sure.
of these venues or the Zoom license. So maybe we can go to more people. We are cheaper price for online. It's not like we are going to ignore them because now is really cheaper. But
Right,
at
right.
least if you are going to ignore people, well, at least to be cheap.
Sure. So to clarify too, I was trying to say that organizing a meeting that's all virtual, that's cheaper way to pay for than a hybrid meeting. Hybrid is expensive and it's expensive to do well. I have experience doing it. I can tell you that I had to be very pushy to get people to, like when we were going to do the Unconference in Bulgaria, the people who organized it they wanted to do it in person only. They did. They said so. And I was not happy with that. And so on the fly, I created a Zoom link and said to all the virtual people, here's the online conference for the virtual people. And I found myself a little corner in the hotel and I did it. with them. And they were very appreciative. And I basically did the same thing down in Hobart. But I took it upon myself to do that. And then all of a sudden, the last year or whenever, I think there wasn't one. And people were like, well, where is it? And I was like, well, if you want one, you need to ask for it and maybe take on the responsibility for leading it. So part of what being this year is in Okinawa. I talked to Ming and I said, you should try Ming. You know, we'll help you, we'll mentor you. So, and you joined Esteban, thank you. So now you have a good idea of how to do it. And Ming has a good idea of how to do it. I mean, someday Nikki won't be in this community and someday I'll retire, right? So trying to mentor the whole method and the reason for doing it at the same time so we can have these conversations. And your point about, Esteban, about the value that you get for the amount of money that you pay to attend online, I think that's really important because that's exactly the kind of thing I wanted to say. It's like if you can't talk to the people who are in the room, and I guess there is some sort of chat, which I didn't realize that there is, but that I was like, then you really could just, if you can't even participate, then you could just watch all the recordings.
6 months later.
Yeah, it's because you're not getting any interactions, right? And that's really frustrating. And hola, hola, Carlos. We can hear you.
Hola,
Hola.
I'm sorry,
Hola.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. No, no worries. Hola. ¿Cómo está?
Thank you. Muy bien, gracias. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. So we are in this unconference breakout talking about the virtual experience and how we can improve it going forward.
Perfect. About the virtual experience of the Congress?
Yes, if you have it.
Oh, and going forward. And
Oh, perfect.
do you have any
Well,
ideas? Yeah.
this is my first Congress I joined like remotely.
Mm-hmm.
And it has been for me like a really passive experience. But I've tried to watch all the conferences for my interest and accompanying some of my fellow mates of my job who went there. Yeah. So it has been good. And for me, it seems difficult to make like more participative instances. But anyways, I've liked it. Yeah. And the Zoom platform, it has been really easy to use, and the classical issues like the audio problems maybe for some conferences, but it has been really easy to participate.
Good. That's nice to hear, right? That's
Nice to hear.
Yeah,
Because
yes.
we have had a lot of problems, technical problems. Well, not a lot compared to I don't know how many sessions. There's like 100 or something.
Oh my gosh.
But
Yes, huge.
there are some that have serious problems. Like we couldn't do the video for everyone else of the microphone, a battery that goes down.
Yeah.
Now the people neither can hear online, neither can use the translation service. But these are the kind of thing that are expensive that Deb is selling. Like, yeah, sure, you could do a little bit better, but it would be cost more money, and we already running short.
Very
And,
expensive.
but thinking about Carlos say, when you say before, we could create like some virtual space, thematic virtual spaces. I think that for every session is too much. Like you're going to have 100 different breakout sessions. It doesn't matter if it's in Slack, Discord, doesn't matter. Having 100 chats that you could join is too much. Like you wouldn't even be able to do. So maybe you could have 10 topics.
Yeah, sure. Well, and you can just, there are different kinds of virtual environments, and now there are very, very many to choose from. And Tadwig, we reviewed like years ago because of COVID, we reviewed like 15 of them, but that's already because we had to pick something.
Yeah.
And we'd never done it before, COVID, right? And so we used something called Hoova. So we did this stuff, you can Google it. We used this, we used that. You can, and people liked it. It creates a space where people can have conversations. It has icebreaker topics. You can click on the icebreaker topic for your choice and you end up telling something about yourself. You being in person, we decided we could also use it, and then in person and online people can still talk with each other that way and around topics, and they could form their own rooms around the topics they want. And so that way you don't have to pre-create them in advance.
They should.
The one I was talking about was in Slack, where we 1 year made a room for each session, so people could continue around that topic if they wanted. Yeah. Hola, ¿cómo está?
We have met each other in Brussels
In Brussels, let me see.
for the disco.
The disco meeting, Christoph. Oh, thank you. Oh, I'm so glad. Hello. Nice to meet you. We've just been joined. We're online here talking about virtual meetings and how we can improve the virtual experience and continue to make that. We have 5 different breakout groups.
Yes, I
And
heard.
is this the one you want to be in, or would you like to know what the other ones are?
I have feelings about all groups, I guess, but I would like to know that
Sure.
one.
Here, we have,
Funding.
yes, we have, oh, sorry, wrong side of the paper. Un moment. So we have this group, and then we have Mikael, they're talking about the GBIF API, the SQL API.
Oh, I guess.
There?
Yes.
Yeah.
This one?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. And then Rod Page and Nicole Kearney, they're talking about BHL in the back there. And then this is this one, how to get funding for biodiversity research in underrepresented regions.
Yes.
That's here.
Okay, that's it there.
And we have
Yes.
the one to coding
Software.
software.
Yeah.
That's sneaky.
And that's there,
Mm,
okay.
Yeah, over there. Nikki, and what's this one?
The sequel.
The sequel.
The sequel.
yes.
Thank you, thank you. Okay,
I
okay.
feel
and that's
most
software.
strongly about that.
Well-
But on the virtual meetings, it was a little bit uneasy during the conference. I mean, it was good that we had the videos, but then, like for the questions, it got a bit uneasy. Sometimes it had to be read out, the responses from, so that was a bit of pity. And in my own,
You mean because they couldn't speak for themselves?
yes, they couldn't speak for themselves.
Okay,
So that's not really then a conversation, that's our discussion.
okay.
And I must say, in my own session, we had initially planned only 2 virtual talks, but then somebody couldn't come, so we had 3 virtual talks in 90 minutes, and I felt it was a bit too much. It's like 1 or 2 virtual talks in like an hour and a half feels like okay to me, but if it gets too much, so it's very difficult to find this kind of balance.
It is, and things happen.
Yes.
Visas people can't get. and
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
so
yes.
it's very difficult.
Yes.
Um,
So you need to be flexible to add more virtual talks when
Yeah.
it raises, but you shouldn't start out with
Yep.
too many already, or you get in trouble.
I've heard meetings now where everybody has to record it and it's flipped. You listen to all the talks before you come that are of interest to you. And then all that, when you meet in the session, it's all discussion.
Mhm.
Which is kind of nice, but
Yeah, or an oral abstracts, like
Yeah.
do an oral abstract, and
Interesting.
I would still say you present, because I need the adrenaline on the moment. It
Sure.
makes me talk in a different way.
It does.
Yeah, but I'm all about recording things because I do a YouTube channel.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think it is important for us to record these things more. You can then listen to what people were explaining, especially in this age of AI, where at least when you're talking and you're not reading a text, you can still actually have accountability for, the ideas you're sharing, and rather than, hiding behind your ChatGPT generated paper.
Yeah. Yeah. Just say hello.
Hi.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry to have, yes. Yeah, we because it was called the Unconference, we thought we'll arrive a little bit later, but very nice to organize this thing. I will just move over to the SQL thing because we've been working on that.
You're welcome to.
Thank you for your,
Thanks for
I
letting
think-
us intrude.
and what do you like to do?
I think I will also join because I will organize the workshop. So
Then-
that
then-
makes sense, I think.
But thanks.
Thank you. So. Yeah, so more ideas for how to structure sessions, which, yeah, I didn't know if any of you, these unconferences too, I find it very intriguing to think about. They do meetings where you meet online and you do the exact what we did. You do pitches for topics you want to talk about. And then when you meet in person, you're voting on those things that people pitched, and then you break up into your rooms. So you don't plan the whole structure in advance, but you gather the topics in advance. And some people even do that in person. The first day of the meeting, 200 people show up, you meet in the room, you do exactly what we did here. People stand up in front of the room and say, this is what I want to talk about. And they do the votes, and then they make the rooms, and everybody goes and does their thing. So they structure the whole conference in like the first hour of the meeting time. So there are meetings run this way. Yes,
scientific academic meetings. That's incredible.
Yes, there are scientific academic meetings run that way, and very dynamic that way to me.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, that's so interesting.
No, where did Unconference come from? Because here in Colombia, I have never heard. Just
So-
because the TAD week,
Yeah.
that was the first Unconference. But it's not common that you have something like that here.
Did you see I shared a link, but I can't remember if it got shared with you. When we were teaching Ming about it, there's a link I can share that you can read about the origins of the Unconference. This is also very common in the programming world because they use this kind of structure for hackathons. Do you guys know that term? Do you
I've
know
heard the term, but I've never attended one.
So you can imagine the kind of thing that Rukeya proposed online, to see where it is on here, right? Where she said she wanted a way to gather all the, was it comments or anyway, whatever's
Yeah,
going
I
on
think the
at all the
transcripts,
sessions.
maybe.
Transcripts of the sessions, so people could search through and see who was talking about what that interests them. So that's a pitch. This is what I want to do. If there are programmers in the room and they're interested in that, then they all go and form a little breakout room in the corner, and that's what they work on together. So they actually want to do work. And a hackathon has, you're either sort of learning something or you are engaged in doing something. So if you are in a group and then you decide you want to move to another one, you can totally do that. But it's meant to also foster learning. So in one hackathon I was at, I wanted to take like thousands of herbarium sheets and the OCR output, and I wanted to visualize the clusters of data that you could find in all of those. So I know how to describe what I want, but I can't build it. For that, I need somebody who knows how to do named entity recognition and tokenizing of all the words, and I need someone who knows how to grab all of that text and use this software called Caret Squared to visualize the clusters, and they make them searchable. So I could describe what I wanted, and then they built it. And then you have your report back is you actually stand up in front of the room and you talk about the challenges and what you're working on. And by the end of the day, you usually stand up and show an output, actually make a product. So there are working meetings. They're fun and they're interactive in the sense that, like, I'm not a programmer. It gives me access to programmers to envision prototypes, do things. So they're fun.
It seemed like there were quite a few sessions with programmers at this meeting this year.
Right.
Is that typical? Is that like, I mean, like the 4 meetings coming together, right? I've been to TEDWig meetings before. Do those other organizations have annual meetings like TEDWig? And are those audiences,
So yes, those other organizations have annual meetings. TADWIG, I would say, is always has that component. That is where, that's TADWIG. But I can't speak for like OBIS or GeoBond. GBIF
doesn't have it.
Right, GBIF, no. They have the training sessions every other year for the node. It's not the same as TADWIG.
Okay.
This I don't think so, but I'm not 100% sure.
OBIS, I know OBIS has workshops. We could ask Ming too. I know OBIS has, they might have R for their marine data, something like that, some workshop around those things. I know because I've seen some of their training materials.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of their training materials too. They do trainings for like node managers and meetings with node managers, but not necessarily like open meetings where anybody who's using their data can come and present
Right.
and meet them and things like that.
Right.
Okay.
Hi,
I've
Matt.
gotten a lot out of that, just like virtually, like being able to connect with all those scientists at both platforms, GBIF and OBIS, and hear from them this way. I've learned a lot about what they have going on.
Cool. Matt, hi. Can you hear us? That's my boss, y'all. So, so I'm looking at the time. Okay, good. So at 9:45, we're supposed to all stop, and then each group is gonna just summarize what we talked about. So you can imagine here, we have a nice thing we can write up and share with the organizers of this meeting, and so GBIF and Tadwig and Giovanna and Obis about things we'd like to see going forward. Ah, way in, Quan, lovely. Oh my goodness. You guys can join other groups through the magic that Esteban has set up if you want to be in a different group.
There are two groups doing software.
Yeah, if you want to join the software LLM group, Esteban just put a chat link in there, a Google Meet, and you can join that if you want to talk about, is that this funding biodiversity? Is that
Yeah.
this one? Research in underrepresented regions? There's those Google Meet links. I don't know why we can't, let me see here, at Matt. So where's the at? There we go. Is it touch?
No.
No, okay. Here. Hi. Oops, different keyboard. Sorry. I shift, exclamation point, enter. So let's see if he sees that come up in the chat. YN, hello. You're in the Unconference. Hello. It's good to have you. Welcome. So we are in this Unconference. We have about 5 groups going on, and this one is talking about the virtual experience on how to continue to improve it for participants of these kind of meetings. But we have other groups talking that you can join if you want. And Esteban was putting chats in the link in the chat. I'm sorry, links in the chat. If you wanted to talk about funding underrepresented research in underrepresented regions, or you want to talk about software and LLMs and research software engineering, there's a group for that you can join that link. So you leave Zoom and join the Google Meet, and you can join that topic if you want. What do you think? YN, are you going to join the LLM group? I'm guessing.
No, I can stay here. I'm just listening.
You're just listening. Okay. Well, hi, Matt.
Hey.
Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you guys.
So we are talking about the virtual experience, but you're welcome to join one of those other groups. I thought you might want to, the LLM software.
Oh, I'm just getting on. Sorry, I logged on and then I got sidetracked by meeting, and then
that happens.
So there's in the chat. Let's see.
In the chat, there's 2 Google Meet. You would leave Zoom and join those Google Meets.
I see.
You jumping into either talking about how to get funding for funding biodiversity research in underrepresented groups, or the LLM, and it was sort of combined research software engineering with LLM sort of discussions, and I forget what the third one was around software. Do you remember?
GitHub?
Yeah, something about GitHub, but I don't see that.
Well, the shared GitHub repo for all the tools.
Yeah.
Oh, that's it. Yeah.
They're thinking of making another. There was an
like
effort.
a BioVel.
Yeah, was it BioVel, Debbie, that had that huge list and then
the Germans
disappeared?
built. Yep.
So
yes.
there's that. Do they know that awesome dash meme or approach to doing that? Oh, this is really weird. I see myself in master and I'm mirrored, and I'm like, my eyes are freaking out.
Yeah, it's like you're logged in twice or something.
Yeah. No.
Oh, that's because. Yeah. It's okay. It's all right. Yeah. I don't know, Matt. What's it called again? We can pass that on to them if you.
So there's a paradigm for programmers that's called awesome dash, like awesome Ruby, awesome Python, awesome R. And basically those are, they follow a bunch of really simple sort of guidelines. They're basically community curated lists of things that people think are awesome.
So we built an awesome, right, for biodiversity informatics or awesome. I
We
forget what
started
the
to, but we didn't follow through, Debbie. I think
No.
we grabbed a link. Jeff
That's what
probably
I'm
still has the
wondering.
domain, like awesome
Yeah.
biodiversity or something.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering if we could
Yeah, I
share.
think we still have that domain maybe, but
It sounds like it would be my favorite website ever.
yeah. So speaking of, like, shameless plug, our TaxonWorks, if you guys have things that along those lines that we could do, because our TaxonWorks Blue Sky account has a biodiversity informatics starter kit where
Yes.
we're trying to like catalog some catalog accounts that are primarily like very dedicated to biodiversity informatics resources, and so there's only like 10 or 15, but the idea would be that the people that we put on that list or the organizations predominantly post about biodiversity informatics as a subject, like they don't wander off into local politics or their local research and stuff. So
Cool.
We're happy to curate that list from our perspective. Yeah.
So I'll make sure I share those with that group. If you don't want to leave this one and tell them yourself, we are going to have report backs at 9:45. So we have a few more minutes. Well, I was just going to say, since in this group, we're actually talking about the virtual experience. One thing I tried to promote, and it's certainly stressed at the carpentries, we could do this in our different sessions, is making time when, just as Matt did for sharing resources just now, where it's one thing for people to stand up in front of the room and say, here's what I've done and here's my stuff, but then making time for other people to say, we have stuff too. And so you need to make time for the virtual people to contribute as well. And often we don't leave enough time for that. And you see
There are
these
space at these events for like if at an in-person conference, right? They have these big bulletin boards in lobbies where you can just like post whatever you want.
Exactly.
Is there a space to make something like that at these virtual conferences where you can do something similar?
Well, some of the tools I was mentioning for virtual meetings do have exactly things like that. You can make your own breakout rooms, you can make your own topics, and yes, you could make a topic called resources and people pile things in there. But you could do some combination, right? If we thought about that enough, it depends on how much the people in the room in person are willing to be on some device connected.
But
that
I really like that idea, like having a zoomable, my mind immediately jumps to, Reddit once a year or once every couple years. They put up a giant whiteboard where people can change the color of one pixel at a time.
Yeah.
And then it's like this chaos, right? Where people end up drawing and then they get like their community jumps in and they try to draw their logo and then some competing community comes in. And of course, nasty, inappropriate things get added to the board. But it's like this amazing hundreds of millions of clicks and interactions, and something very creative comes out of it and stabilizes over time. So like in a virtual setup, you could have a virtual, wanted job board or that kind of thing.
Right,
but it's basically, you could zoom it. So you don't have to just fight for space. You could go further and back. And yeah, it would be kind of cool. And then people could just come by and post a little note or
right.
Yeah.
Right now, everyone has a device. Like it's not like, oh, I can
Yeah.
Right.
Everyone has a cell phone now.
Yeah.
You just have
So
to
you could just QR code to the whiteboard, and then you could just kind of scroll around, but make it very, very simple. Like toss a document or type something. Like you just kind of typing it and then see what emerges.
That's cool. I like that. That's another way to find overlap. And when people, like one of these groups in here are talking about how to find funding and I'm like, so then you're talking about funding sources, but it's limited to the people who join that group. And you have so much more value when there's more people contributing to that conversation who might know of a resource or an idea. And now, like as you said, Esteban, I love the fact that the other thing I notice at TADWIG meetings, we almost always break the Wi-Fi. We bring our computers and we bring, our handheld devices, and some people bring their tablets too. So they have like 3. So we always pay for more. Oh, good. Thanks, Matt. We pay for more Wi-Fi in order to make sure, but it's expensive. I've been to other meetings where the people look forward to not bringing their devices. And this is another added challenge to trying to include the online people, because the people in the room don't connect much to the virtual space when they go to those meetings. They're evolving still. Tadwig is way on the other end of that already.
The more I think about it, the more I like being in a bit more of a manager role and stuff, the more I really like the idea of a virtual job board. Like I know at some of the big meetings we'll go to, like at ESA and stuff, they have that, like students looking for positions or people looking for jobs.
Sure.
Because in the community, there's only so many people with that kind of level of experience that become, and if we as a community could anticipate, oh, in 2 years so-and-so is going to be available or looking for funding or whatever, then maybe we'd be better at keeping some continuity going there collectively.
That's like alignment conversation, right? That's
yeah,
exactly where it's hard to, unless you happen to talk to the right person by accident, you know, so that's a much more strategic way to be thinking about that space. Sure. But it can go for virtual too. When we're learning about how to do this better, like we could do that, Esteban, too. One of the things we did after COVID, I'm trying to remember, we actually had some online sessions where we said lessons learned. This is what we learned about how we would go forward or what we need to think about. And we could structure it. Some of the things we've shared here, I think, are really cool for making this a positive experience.
We have a CES project for a virtual workshop in Latin America with the private sector, and one of the result was like a guide to how to do better workshop meetings. It was in Spanish and in English. We learn, everyone learns a lot in the pandemic, and I think we have to go back to what you say. The world has changed, I think, for the better. I think having the possibility of virtual participant is incredible. It's incredible for me because otherwise I hope this will have been my first Talbot. And now it's the fifth because you have done virtual things, so I can access virtually. You know, it's expensive, but it's far cheaper than a plane to Japan and back. Like that would have never been possible.
Yeah.
So virtual is an incredible tool. If we can do a little bit better to connect with people in person, of maybe at least connect with people virtually. Yes, I know that if you are in person, you don't have time. Like.
Yeah.
So did anybody have like? I feel like I need to go and take a couple of undergrad classes and feel what it's like there, right? Because they're doing all of these things where you answer questions with their apps and they're in the classroom and they're just digitally connected in there. And it feels like there's some lessons to be learned from what they're doing now, right? Like, so if you have people in the audience and they all have their clickers or their apps, and we've done those online polls and stuff where we kind of joint do them together, but I'm wondering if classes are like way more advanced in undergrad right now. And could we take how they're interacting together on a virtual screen in front of the professor, right, on this big, you know, like a big auditorium, 300 people, and they're all looking up and they're making stuff happen on the screen together. That would project really well with people in place. And, you know, like instead of there's the 400 people sitting and watching the plenary, but then there's the worldwide global. But you can see in real time how people are interacting on that screen. That's pretty powerful.
So Matt, when you say that too, you remind me the times we have used things like Padlet, or Mentimeter, where it's really cool because what you know, from a pedagogical standpoint, it's one thing to do a little survey and then the people who did the survey get to see the results. But when you do it in the way you're describing, the room gets to see what the room is thinking. The room gets to see what the room is understanding or contributing. You know, in a real-time sense, it's much more of a conversation then, right? Between more people. So, and I think we have had some meetings where people have used Padlet at Tadwig. We've certainly had Mentimeter. It's another one of those things where you have to encourage people to set those up, and they have to be willing to, as you just said, use their devices to.
And maybe there's like the need for really low-tech devices, right? Like especially if the meeting is going to go to a lot of places where people may not have a digital access and that kind of thing. Like what is, so like again, I think of the hacker conference where they have kind of badges, but their badges are like little devices essentially. Like they have games built into them and stuff, but there's a little bit of tech in the badge. Not games, it's like things that they're trying to do throughout challenges in the conference and stuff. But if you kind of had that low level of tech that allowed you to interact, and even like in some kind of mesh way or non-Wi-Fi way, then you could create this virtual space for people that don't have their, $1,000 iPhone whipped it out and doing stuff.
Something else. Oh, sorry. One comment.
Go.
Yeah, I know you're talking about like external tools that you can add, but even internal tools like I was virtual conference this thing, but the chat was always turned off. So the only way that the virtual people could talk to each other was use the QA function. They weren't using it to ask questions to the speaker. They were just trying to talk to each other because that was the only thing that was available for virtual people to talk to each other.
Yeah. That's my most unfavorite tool either. I know what you're talking about. That's that Zoom, it's called Zoom, what is it now? Webinar. The Zoom webinar mode where it's just Q&A. Yeah, I'm not a fan of that. I was just thinking, the other thing, another aspect I thought that I really liked, but its moment in time has passed. But when Twitter was a more positive and exciting space to hang out in, some of the bigger meetings I went to, and now I can't remember whether it was the Ecological Society of America or the Entomological Society of America, but they had in the communal spaces outside the conference space, these huge boards with the Twitter feeds and people. And so, because there's people in sessions all over the place and they're tweeting, and it was sort of a way to watch what was happening in the other rooms and the conversations that was happening. It brought a little bit more interaction to, look what they're talking about. And you could see it without having to actually go into the physical space. And then you could decide, but you could also follow threads, and people would often have it up on their computer. So they're in one space, so they're following the thread in another one, for better or for worse. But it definitely made it more fun and interactive for discovery.
The other thing that strikes my mind is, I guilty confession is that I follow a bunch of Twitch streamers, and that's live game, mostly game streaming people, but there's a lot of IRL streaming that happens there, and those guys are very, very pro at selfie cams or selfie sticks, or even having a guy with a camera running through it. And I think it would be super cool to have a bunch of dedicated people. You could swap out the role of cameraman, and they're just going around live streaming, and their conversations are kind of broadcast, and you basically have a couple of dedicated Twitch streams or YouTube streams, depending on where you'd go. But you can multi-stream now as well, and that's the dedicated streamer. And you have to bring up awareness to say, hey, you're on live and stuff like that too. But the pros are very good at recognizing when not to show people and when to show people and when to, and so you're just kind of walking around with your camera, and then if you want to share your conversations, you can be on the channel, right? And there's ways of grouping those, and there's ways of like having five different channels be together and sharing a view perspective or something. But kind of like this, you could have people, what they do with the best streamers is they rented out kits, like super crazy kits, right? So if you could have something much, much simpler that you could just pick up and check out. It's like, hey, I want to go to the booth. I'm going to check out the live stream. I'm going to live stream my friend's talk, and I'm going to sort of like comment online in the virtual thing, and here's where I'll be discussing it in real time.
Okay, I got to wrap it up now. We have to get up the topics we brought together, which go from things that have gone really well in past virtual meetings. We are going to be able to share a couple of those to the things that people brought up here. And we thought we would summarize all this. I know they're going to put a couple of key points in the Tadwig closing meeting minutes, I think. Yes. So Brianna, I like that too. That sounds like fun, right? That does. And then figure out if there's any next steps we want to take out of this group. Like I was suggesting, maybe if you wanted, I don't know, could do some sort of Zoom session post this meeting just for fun to talk about
with the virtual participants.
What we learned and what we'd like to see in future virtual meetings to share with other people. I'm not sure.
I mean, yeah, biodiversity informatics, we're supposed to be informatics, and so we should have the cutting edge virtual components to the meeting. So Debbie and I have this meeting coming up that we think in about 3 years where we're thinking about these issues. So it's a little bit more on our plate as well, to be aware of best practices and what's going to be cool and what can we try out and what can we plan for. So I'd be interested, I think, at least having our team participate in that.
Yeah. Thank
I'm in too. Yeah, that sounds really fun.
Thank you. So now I don't know if you're how this is going to work for report backs, honestly, because we're kind of doing this on the fly. But now each group is going to come back and give us like 2 minutes. Well, we have 5 groups and there's 15 minutes, so that's about right.
Brian, you want to report back for us?
Yes.
Me?
Yeah, I do.
Oh my word! I wasn't taking notes. Debbie was taking such a good note.
I was taking really good notes there. It's
Yeah.
scribbled all over the back of the paper, but yeah. Yeah, you can speak up and you always give the highlights. You don't have to.
Okay, I'm sure willing to try. You might have to pad what I remember.
I don't know how you're gonna make her loud enough, but
I'm going to no.
Yeah, it's good.
Change so they everyone.
Yeah, understood. Just say yes.
Right, hello everyone. Thanks for having the opportunity to make a group based around software topics. And so we covered the common GitHub repo, a network for software engineers, and an interest group for structured data extraction. We were joined online by quite a few people. We had a discussion where we introduced each other, and we talked about some of the assumptions that we have about how we can communicate, and whether those are correct. Like an assumption that we'll use Slack. Maybe in the future we might need to use something like Discord to bring in the new generation of people that are going to work in our community. We need to make a differentiation between the kind of fast, fluid discussions that we have that could be quite transient, and having the discipline to write them up so that they sit in a long-term archive so that we've got that to look back on. And I contributed the practice of sharing something called Today I Learned, and that can be anything, any little snippet of information or resource that you found and you learned today. And I think the really valuable thing that we talked about a lot is like how that can emphasize vulnerability in a community. Like you can say, this is something new that I learned today. Even the big names in your community are still always learning, and sharing that practice I think is really valuable. Building a network will help us kind of share resources, share funding opportunities, hand people on between different projects, because we know that our funding is often transient, and valuable people sometimes come to the end of a project and can be handed onto a new one. And we talked about sharing onboarding resources. They're something that's really valuable. It's often like built in a kind of a set of resources that people use, and we could share that a bit more. Discussions need curation. That was a really valuable point. And we need to be mindful that our discussions, when they're online, could be used for AI training, and we need to think about how people, be mindful that some people are not happy with that, and be explicit about the kind of standards for our communities and how we make our discussions.
Thank you for that. I can say we have a couple more ideas to add to your group that happen to come up in ours that we'll share later. Okay. Thanks, Nikki. Yay, y'all. Thank you. Yes. Nikki, here, this for you. There you go. Next group. Oh, Gary, you wanted to add something quickly? What? Oh, put your computer. Yeah. Next group that's ready. You guys. This is GBIF SQL API. Is that right?
All right, so we've been talking about the GBIF SQL API and how to use it, because there are many things that we can now do that we couldn't do before. And especially we were discussing how to make it still easier for users, because SQL might not be the most difficult language, but it's still a language. And there is now a fairly nice and simple pipeline to get to generate API requests or directly SQLs with JavaScript web page that can be on GitHub, so no burden of backends and stuff like that. And we can create the user interfaces for people to find out the answer to the questions that we think they might need, or to answer our own questions, but maybe let people choose the domain, or in our case it was whether if you want to hunt down recorded by ID for GBIF nodes or publishers, or who is the right person to look for their org ID based on recorded by, and with most occurrences. So these kind of queries we can now run and make user interfaces for people to use without having to know SQL. So I think it's something that we need to think about and consider, and what kind of questions do we want to answer. And I don't think we know what can be answered just yet, but we should maybe think about it a little bit more. And we had one action point that came up, was maybe to create GitHub template with a simple script, and that's able to get to SQL API and extract the data, which would be used by GitHub Actions. That way we can do the updating alone and don't need any backend at all. Right.
Thank you. All right, who's ready to go next? You are? Okay, the BHL group, raise their hand. Hooray.
Okay, I'm going to sit so I can look at this laptop at the same time as I'm talking. So I'm Kelly Try. I'm the I'm the transition director for the BHL until mid-2026. So we were talking about funding models, sustainability, and things like that related to the BHL. And a lot of big takeaways were related to communication. So we've been working really hard since we learned about the news from the Smithsonian to try to focus on communication, but we can clearly be a lot better in trying to make it clear where we find ourselves from a budget perspective. So now that we are operating more as a nonprofit, figuring out how to share a lot of the information in things like annual reports, make it clear what we need in the next year, like specifically. We've had a lot of conversations about partnerships with folks, but just an example from the budgetary perspective, without the Smithsonian's support that they have consistently done in the past, we are probably operating at about a $500,000 deficit. So things like that aren't as clearly known from people, so figuring out how to make that information more plain. One of the things we haven't done as frequently in the past because of the Smithsonian were things like fundraising and development work and advancement, but working to find donors, like other potential endowments, thinking of ways to move forward with that is a big goal for us in the next year. And we're really, and we had a really good conversation in our small group with people who had suggestions, but we are open to any kinds of suggestions of folks you think we could talk to that might have more expertise in that changing a model and working at those different types of advancement work and fundraising. So we would be happy if any of you have somebody you think would be useful for us to speak to about our new governance and funding structure as we move into the next few years. The other things we talked a lot about were, and I think it's also related to communication, but also value. So I think we've seen a lot from this week, and those of us with the BHL, but even at this conference can see how valuable it is to a lot of scientists. But at the same time, maybe we don't always tell that story in the best way. Maybe we don't always front load what's unique about the BHL. So I think a lot of folks know that like scientific name finding is a big deal. It's not something that other databases do well, but isn't maybe something that we're front loading that scientific information aspect and the angles that make BHL different than say, just a literature repository or something like that, as a way to tell that story and explain what's important about us. And then of course, continued added value. One of the things that came up was there's a lot of not even gray, but hidden literature. So government reports and information about species data and climate change information. And the BHL has some of this information, but it could be a potential home for more information like that, particularly as we see right now how our world is becoming a little bit more of a difficult place to share this information as freely as we had been. So how can we address even more of that, what makes the BHL unique and a resource for folks doing this work. So this is my brief recap. Thank you.
Yay. Oh, Kelly, un momento. Yes. All right, which group would like to go next? We have our virtual group and we have the fundraiser. Would you? Okay.
Okay, so we were with out from Norway. Jeremy was in, I think, UK, was he? I missed that. And Rajan in Berlin. And Juan from Chile and me here, discussing this access to funding. And then we, like I explained, there is a bit the same like non-homogeneous distribution as with species. We get like those grants for charismatic species. You have to work with the Andean bear or with birds to be funded or to be visible. And then there are small grants, maybe a bit more niche focus that are a bit hidden. And writing a grant, you know that it takes a long time. And then what we came up is to, maybe we can try to concentrate the information of funding maybe in a repository or mailing list or newsletter where people have access, especially people from this global south have access to know where to get funding to at least continue biodiversity research that is difficult to fund, and when it's funded in these countries, it stops, and then you have to try to find funding to continue it, or to partner. Sometimes in Europe, like we depend a lot on our ex-supervisors, our colleagues in the north to try to help with that, but maybe make it a bit more fair, as we have been talking, more accessible to also people that are not that connected in the world. So we came up with ideas like this repository, maybe a mailing list with just a very simple Google form where people can write about funding sources and maybe classify it a bit on taxon, geographic regions, what deadlines, of course, restrictions, maybe even a newsletter. And we also came up with the idea that maybe this community, GBIF, can help in distributing the information or making it accessible. Thank you.
I can't help myself, add it really quick. I know that we have librarians in this space. I don't know if you have that access to some where they often know about funding sources or they have access to databases that help you find funding sources.
I know these Terra Viva grants.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that was...
Yeah, Terra Viva grants, I think most Colombians that are doing research know it because they advertise funding. So, but it's not that much in biodiversity, but it's a good one.
Yep. Okay, and with that, our last group, and Brianne is going to give us our report back.
Can you hear me okay?
We can.
I can hear myself. My name is Brianne Flo. I'm a virtual participant this week for the meeting. I'm based in Houma, Louisiana, with the Louisiana University Marine Consortium. We talked about all kinds of really cool ideas for enhancing virtual attendance. One of the things we talked about was hosting a dance, some sort of social event. This was done, I guess, at a meeting, I think in 2021, that I actually also attended virtually in this. I'm so sad about it. People contributed songs to a Spotify playlist. The songs were played, there were breakout rooms for people who wanted to socialize. And it was truly like an interactive and really connecting and engaging event. We talked about alternating virtual meetings and non-virtual meetings or hybrid meetings. Lots of benefits to that, right? Cost, carbon, access, right? Talked about having dedicated virtual teams as part of hybrid meeting events, so people that are dedicated truly to the virtual attendant get more value out of their attending experience. Related to that, we talked about how to make the cost-value ratio of virtual attendance a little better for virtual attendees. Making sure that either they get more or reducing the cost associated with virtual attendance. We talked about using different virtual tools, like a virtual bulletin board maybe, where people could share ideas, thoughts, jobs, papers, where people could just connect. All unit spaces, right, making opportunities for people to connect this way. We talked about maybe live streaming. We have some Twitch action flows. That was really exciting. A little bit of it myself, I think, which is cool. And also the capacity to engage lower tech devices. Lots of people have smartphones, and many people have smartphones, but not everybody does. So how can we potentially engage with that? Thanks so much for the opportunity to be here and participate.
Thank you very much. And Brianne, everybody who reported back got a free gift poster. I will bring yours back to the States with me and mail it to you. So thank you very much, everyone, for participating. Esteban, do you want to say, and we can get Ming up here to say thank you?
No, I was going to say the same to Brianne, like we are inclusive to online people, so I will make sure to send them something to where she was about, like now that you are in the US, like I saved that money.
Okay. Okay. And I hope all of you, if you've never done one of these before, you're inspired to do this at your own institutions, at your own meetings. And there is, if you want documentation about the history of how you do these and where they came from, that is online. Happy to share that. And any last thoughts?
Oh, thank you so much for being here. And I have been taking notes for all the report back. It would be nice if each group could send someone to verify what I wrote, because I don't hear very well, and sometimes it's a little bit quick. But thank you all so much for your active participation.
Okay. I'd like to echo that too. Thank you all for coming, and I found it a really interesting conversation in my group. I hope the other ones did too. As you can see, we're all still learning about how to do this, so any feedback about the structure of it too. And I'd like to thank the online participants particularly, and the technical support.
Yes, please.
Thank you all.
Yep, that's it. Onward. Thank you, everybody. Yeah, that's going to really help Ming if they each give you their notes. I'm sure that someone took notes.